Hi everyone, as you can see by the name and by the video that we're doing right now, this is a process video on the long awaited Spider-Man pattern. So in this video, I'll show you how to draw and cut out your templates from using your own clothing, then sizing everything up, telling you which piece is which, and going just through the step-by-step process. This will be a part 1 and 2 of this whole costume base. So everything that you just see here, I've just sewn today. Okay, so this took me around 2 or 3 days, but you can see throughout this whole video right now, guys, if you want to stick around to part 1 and 2, I'll be showing you how to make all of this plus a mask video, and then we'll be moving on to the web stages. But again, thank you so much for coming and sticking around this long, and let's get straight into the video. You can use this for any design, any pattern that you like. But yeah, guys, this is the thing that I'm going to be showing you how to make, and this has been a long time in the making. Thank you, guys, and here we are. So everyone, we're going to get straight into the video. You can see me now just doing the pattern and the updates to the shirt base. I'm using existing templates. You can use your shirt, you can use your t-shirts. These patterns, guys, like I'm going to show you throughout this whole entire process video, they do work and they do go together. I just had to update some of my existing patterns because of the shoulder line that I'm about to show you. But yeah, it makes the suit go a lot better. You can use paper or card, guys, for your base templates, and you can just see me throughout this whole video. Please be careful, please take your time, and let's have fun with this. Put on a movie, put on some music, take a day off, and yeah, let's make some patterns. So you can just see me now cutting out my arm templates. You'll want to just, take your time, double check your work, double check your measurements, and again, label everything like we do here on the channel. Now, you're going to see me throughout this whole process video use pre-existing templates, but these will just slide into each other here. This is going to be for the side panels of the blue lycra, and the shirt base, guys, is what you're going to want to do. You can fold yours in half to get a very symmetrical shape, and yeah, just do what you think is best for your design. You can see me putting together how everything is going to work, but that shoulder line is going to fold up into here. We have the blue part that's going to go into the arm slit, and yeah, you're going to see me sew all this together. I just have to update some of the pieces. You can see me cutting off the shoulder piece. Take your time and have fun with this, guys. Like we say, guys, you can use pre-existing like parts of your clothing. So what I'm doing is using some jeans here to match up the sizes for the shirt base to make sure everything measures up all right. So I'll just draw around the pattern. I'm going to be adding in an extra piece just to make sure everything is that extra bit large. Please leave some lines for your seams. Please leave some lines, just a bit of extra room so that everything measures up. You do have to take your time and you can sew it in tighter. I know not everybody has a pre-existing, Spider-Man suit the way I'm showing right now, but you do and can use your pre-existing clothes. You can just use your shirts, your old shorts, you can use some pants, really nice trousers that fit you sort of tight. I'm using some skinny jeans. Again, like I said before, I've left some room around the edges for my seams, and if we do need to take it in, we can always sew it just that bit tighter. It's always to have it bigger rather than have it smaller because it's far easier to work with. But you can see now that everything is lining up. I didn't have enough card, so what I have done is just some half measurements. Here you can just see I really needed to update the shirt base because it was too long at the bottom, and I am just using the shirt base now to make the back panels. So I needed the size of the shirt, and then we have the back panel here for where the red piece is going to go in your back area. And yeah, guys, you can just see the whole back portion of your suit. Again, take your time, look at the Spider-Man suit online, but these are the suits and the pieces that we're going to replicate into the blue and the red lycra. You can just see me here next to me and Patty laying out the floor. I didn't want to get any of my fabric dirty, and yeah, this is 4-way stretch lycra, guys. So 4-way stretch lycra can be purchased in any sort of fabric shop or online. I use the Paragon fabrics. Theirs is very, very good. It also has that metallic shine. Lay your pieces down flat, guys, and make sure your lycra is spread out. This sort of fabric catches. Use a sharp pair of scissors. Now, please be careful, but just take your time. I'm going at a very fast pace and a very fast rate. Take your time, guys, and take an afternoon to draw these pieces out. Now, the lycra isn't cheap, so what we're doing is laying these pieces sort of close to each other because we don't want wastage. Okay, so we're laying them down flat, making sure we know where all of our pieces are, and yeah, this is going to help us prevent us to not waste as much fabric as we want. So guys, this is the patterns that you've seen me just draw out. This is when you just lay it out. You can't really see, through the pen, but all the wrinkles sort of make it. These are the layouts that we have. We have the front piece right here. We have our arm pieces, our back piece. And yeah, I probably should have drew it on the back of the fabric because this is the front shiny layer, underneath here, this is not as shiny. But yeah, this is just what it'll look like before you cut it out. And now I will just show you what it's like when we cut it out, but I wanted to show you the base layers of it. And from our patterns, this is what we got. Again, we laid the sheet down because we don't want to get the fabric dirty. But yeah, this is what it'll look like. And we have our pieces of all our red lycra, guys. You can just see now this can be changed up and varied to whatever sort of design that you like. These pieces can be reworked and worked over. You can change up the belt design to not be straight. You can have the spike in the middle, but you can just see how they're going to go together. We have our upper top piece for our back portion and our front. We have our two belt pieces, and we also have our arm pieces. Now again, like I say, just take the time, enjoy the pattern, and look at some pictures. What we're going to do now is use the blue 4-way stretch lycra fabric to start to cut our bottom pieces and our legs and also our arm pieces. So you'll want to lay this down flat, really get it down. It took me a lot of time, but lay your pieces down flat. You may have to put some pressure because, like we say before, the lycra gets caught in itself, and when you use a pen you might have to apply a lot of pressure. Do whatever you want, put on some music, put on a movie, guys, and yeah, take your time with this and enjoy it. So guys, this is just the reminder, when you are using this 4-way stretch lycra, you want to, use up the space, and, this isn't cheap. So when you do bad, you'll want to realize what side you're drawing on. The underneath here, you can see that is the inside, and then this fabric is the shiny side. This will be on the outside. It's up to your choice if you want it to be flat or if you want it to have that sort of shine to it. But also, since it's a 4-way stretch, it goes 4 ways, so it stretches sidewards and also up and downward. We don't have to worry about where we place our patterns. Usually if you're working with a 2-way stretch, you'll have to, sort of layer your patterns out according to where it stretches. That's just something to keep in mind. Like we said, we're working from a middle point here, the fold, so that'll give us a symmetrical piece once we cut our back piece. I drew this piece by mistake, so we'll not do that. Down here we have our two arm pieces that'll go underneath here in our arms. Now I'm just about to do both trousers, so we'll do one side like this, and then you'll want to flip it over and do the other side. This is what we're doing with the patterns. That's what I just wanted to remind people of. Once you draw one pattern, you'll flip it to the opposite side because you'll not want to just cut the same pattern twice, because that's with the arms. Once you draw it this way and draw around it, you'll want to flip it over and do it that way so that both pieces match into both arms. You know what I mean? You'll not just be cutting 4 of the same side of this, you'll be cutting 2 of each. And yeah, it's just tiny wee details. I've done it so many times, rushing these projects and, sort of wanting to get there and just make it. And then once I get to the sewing portion, I realize I have to recut some of the pieces because I've just rush jobbed it. Just take your time. Like the lycra fabric is, like I said, it's not cheap, but it's also like not that costly either. If you're going to take your time with it and spend this time on the costumes, you may as well take that extra second or two just to check your pieces and check your patterns. Like I say, I drew this piece, it's going here for the back piece. I drew that by mistake. Also on your pieces, you'll want to mark out where your middle line is. Now you can, make a piece that symmetrically folds out to the other side. You can make this all one piece. I didn't have enough cards, so we just used this middle portion. But we just marked it in here. This is the middle and center line that we have, and this is our shoulder line right here. We've also marked it red part Spider-Man backplate, and we've dated it. You'll just want to do that for your pieces, guys, so that we know what we're working with when you made it, which is the updated version, because I tend to update all these pieces, on a regular basis. So then when I check the dates, that tells me which was the last piece I made. So yeah, guys, thank you very much, and we'll just get into cutting this, and you'll see me do it now. So a sharp pair of scissors when working with this lycra, guys, really helps. You can see me here applying a lot of pressure as I am drawing around my templates, because this really does help. But you also, like we said before, using the middle point and the middle line of the lycra fabric, the fold that we made, you can see how we got that symmetrical piece for the back portion. You can start to see how everything is shaping up. But again, take your time looking at your pieces and looking at your patterns. That is what the whole process in the main part of the fade is. But I am using some tiny scissors. I had to go in and get some bigger scissors, you can see after this. But like I said, this took me a whole afternoon. So cutting all of these pieces and making sure everything was good. I have a counterweight that's also applied to really hold that fabric down so I can get both shapes. So take your time and enjoy it, like I always say. So guys, this is it from these. We have got these. Now this is the pattern. My floor isn't that dirty, but I mean, we have the chest plate, we have the side panel pieces there, we have the arm pieces, we have our belt piece, we have our back plate, we have our under blue arm piece, our groin piece, our big back plate, and our trouser pieces. Now those are just all the templates that you need to have. This was all the scrap that was left. I used some of the scrap to actually do the groin pieces. So, you know, this is what we're aiming for. Now you can waste or do whatever you like. I'm the one sort of, I'm the one buying the material at this point now. So I sort of have to watch the budgets. But yeah, guys, this is all the wastage that we have. And then we have our groin pieces right here. We have our underarm pieces. We have our back plate, if we just open everything up, our side panels. And yeah, I'm just about to show you how we sew all of this together, but there is a lot of pieces all in all. You know, I think it's around 27 to 30 pieces for this suit, but like you just see me do, we have cut our trousers, and let's see, they unfold like that. Let's put these pieces over here. You want to keep them all good. That's going to go like that. And yeah, this is our trouser piece. We have our groin piece that's going to go in the center right here. But that is sort of the methodology of how I've came to make these costumes. The paint cans or any kind of heavy weight that you can put on this lycra will really help you in the end process. A pair of sharp scissors is also perfect for using lycra. Sharp scissors, guys, really is one of the most important steps. Take your time, draw around the pieces, and double check your work. So let's get into the sewing portion. This has been me trying to show you how to make your own patterns. And yeah, guys, this can work for a lot of different ways. So use this for any kind of suit you want. And yeah, let's get into it. So yeah, guys, these are all of our pieces right here. What we're going to do now is just sew them all together. This is an industrial grade sewing machine. So you can buy ones, guys, online that come just in the units like this. This is just a bit more bigger, a bit more complex, does stitching a bit faster, sometimes more secure, and has a bit more options. Now, I have this because my mom has her own factory doing uniforms and textiles and such, so I've sort of worked off of this machine and borrowed it, let's say. Yeah, guys, this is what I've been working off all the whole time. You know, you see me make costumes, and I'll teach you how to use this, but we'll get into that in another video. Here we have the pedal. I'm just going to change the thread to blue because I had it black here. But we're just going to sew this together, and you're going to see me do quick cuts. And yeah, this is the peaceful process. Put on some music, put on a video, and this is the time where you relax, take your time, and chill out. So thank you for watching so much, guys, so far. And if you want to learn this portion, let's get into it. So this, guys, is the first suit that I've actually taken the time. You can see me changing the thread on the machine. I wanted to match the thread with the fabric, so you know the sides that were going together, blue to blue, red to blue. I was changing the bobbin underneath and the thread through the machine. So you can just see now, you'll want to take your time, layer your pieces on top of one another. This is part of the crucial phase of sewing, is laying these pieces on top of one another. This lycra will want to move, so you're putting it through the machine, it will want to move. You can pin it together. You can use a lot of holding, sewing pins to keep it in shape and keep it in place. I feel comfortable enough to feed it through the machine with my own fingers. I sort of know where the patterns and everything needs to go. You just take your time. Again, double check your work, double check the sides that you're sewing together. Like we explained before, one side is shiny, the other side is just sort of a flat blue. As you can see now, when I unfold it, we have a nice seam line. Everything is going together, and I'm using blue thread in the bobbin and also blue thread feeding through the machine. So double checking our work, guys, you'll just want to take your growing pieces and piece by piece you'll sew each one together. I don't like to sew everything as one piece, so you can just see here I sewed one piece to one leg and the other to the other leg. This will help me join them together once we do sew everything in one final piece. But yeah, just take your time. Again, this leg will want to move when you feed it through the machine. What we're going to do now, if you do have a sort of time placing fabric together and sewing it, you can make some tiny cuts like you can see me doing now, and this will help you place the pieces together and work from a certain center point. I like to do this because it sort of keeps all the lycra in place, helps me make sure everything lines up right. You can see from one half I sew to the other side, and then I take it from the other half and sew to the other side. I don't do it all in one big line. I don't try and curve the machine and lift the needle up or the foot. I just sort of just feed it through from the middle, and yeah, it's all just about taking your time, looking at the pattern and enjoying it. Yeah, so once you see it, you can see it stretch out, because remember, once we put the costume on, it will stretch out. Some of the lines will sort of look a bit bumpy sometimes, but you can see now with my hands I'll sort of stretch it out to make sure once I do put it on and zip the suit up, everything will stretch out. Okay? So for our shoulder part, guys, this is the big update that I've made. Usually I would make a curved line like you can see in the pattern, but what I'm doing is cutting a line straight up from the armpit that goes right into the neck piece, and then we have our arm pieces. So we'll want to do red to red. Now this is the sort of tricky part of making the Spider-Man costume, is making all the line work match up, because the lycra will want to move. It's tricky to sort of pinpoint where it wants to go together, but this is where you take your time and work from these tiny points that I'm going to show you within the video. So we're going to start to sew on the blue parts. You can see where the sections meet in to the arm parts, and yeah, just take it piece by piece. You'll want to sort of just make sure everything lines up before you do sew everything together, but you can just see how everything is and wants to fit together. We will make tiny cuts, you can just see me do now, into the corner. That, like we say, helps me work from a certain point, and it helps keep everything in place. So working in straight lines, instead of trying to curve some pieces and trying to make everything fit together. I found out with this lycra, if you just give yourself some extra room, a tiny bit of extra fabric and a tiny cut here and there, this will help you attach your pieces a lot better. Okay, so you can just watch me sit and sew these together. Again, this process is sped up a lot, but I do show the examples of when it is sewn together. This took me a whole afternoon and a good few days to sew this entire suit together. So do not pressure yourself, but you can just see now one arm done, and we will get the other four pieces together. Once you have all four pieces sewn together, guys, of your arm sections, you can see here we have sewn them right up the middle. So we have attached both pieces together and we have laid them on top of one another. You can start to see the arm forming, and yet we'll want to sew this to one solid piece. Okay, so like we said before, I wanted to do red to red, so you can't see any of the thread or the line work. So I've just had to change the fabric up. Tiny little bumps, do not worry about those areas. So you can just sew over those like tiny areas that don't match up very perfectly. We can go in later on, sew those tighter and update those. Do not let those put you off. Okay, as you will see at the end of this video, this suit turns out very well. So again, just place the pieces on top of one another, place them underneath the foot of the machine, and just feed them through. Now this is the actual time. You can just see here, this is me sewing in real time. This is not the sped up process. This took me a whole few days to make. So like I said before, do not pressure yourself. We have just sped up this whole process so you are not sitting there for a whole afternoon. But just once you have sewn all together your pieces, you'll see you now have an arm piece. You have a solid, complete arm piece with the line work done for the Spider-Man. So be sure just to check your lines and how everything matches up. You can see here me just now making sure that the red matches up with the blue and everything that we're doing. But yeah, you can just see now how everything is starting to come together piece by piece. Double checking and making sure that our belt, so this is where we're going to do and attach one side. So you can see the belt comes in two pieces. What I'm about to do now is attach one of those pieces to the back. Okay, so we're not just going to sew the belt together straight away. We're going to attach one belt piece to the back portion, and we're going to attach the other to the front portion. You want to keep everything sort of in a symmetrical form, so that when it all goes together, it's sort of like sewing a shirt base. But you can see now, again, like we said, bumpy lanes don't really matter because once we stretch it out, you can see it just forms and turns into a straight lane. Sometimes you'll have to sew over some of the thread or some of your lines to make sure that they stay in. But yeah, guys, you can just see now I'm placing over the other pieces to make sure everything lines up like one shirt base. You can see now the blue side panels, that's what we're going to sew in next, and this is the tricky part. Okay, because the front is the main stage of the Spider-Man costume, you can make sure now, like I say, always double check your pieces and your patterns. Always make sure and just keep making sure that they all fit together. So you can see me dancing, guys, right now. This is excitement and also nerves because like I just said, this is the main part. So I like to work from a straight line. You can just see when I have the piece, I'm making sure it lines up. I'm taking my time. I'm making sure all the lines line up. So I just place it into the machine here. I like to work from this sort of, the armpit line right there first. I don't like to do and go up into a curve, but you can just see now, making sure that everything works in a straight line, that my pieces match up. I stretch it out to make sure that there's no bumps when it is stretched out, because you'll want to just keep double checking your work. It isn't just a one sew one line job. So you can just see here, I will take it, maneuver the fabric whichever way you like. Okay, so this is also part of the job, is maneuvering around the fabric using your hands, not just having it in one place. But you can see here, this is the tricky part. I spent a lot of time trying to get that curve and that corner piece in. You can see a sort of a bumpy line when it comes to it. I take the scissors and I make a tiny cut, the tiniest of cuts, guys. Please don't go and over exaggerate, the cuts into the corners and the tiny curves that you have to do. But this is a tiny trick into it. You can see here it already helped take away some of that bump and some of that, line. We have just done the other side, and I will always fold over my patterns to make sure everything matches up. So you'll want to fold it over in half, make sure everything lines up all right. I'm taking the other belt piece like we said before, and we'll attach it to the front. Take the back panel and place it on top to make sure it all lines up and is the same sort of shape. Because when we go to sew these together, you want everything to match up because the Lycra is very tricky to work with. Okay, guys? What I've done is, guys, sew it in at the belt pieces. You can just see at the bottom that it is attached on each side. I haven't went fully in yet because it's the arm pieces. Once you sew those on, that is what's going to bring it all together. But you can see we have attached the belt piece at the front. Everything lines up and matches up together. And yeah, I've just attached it here so that I know where placement ways everything is going, and it keeps everything sort of together. But the back piece and the front piece red starts to match up. You can see here now, this is the tricky part, the line work. So the line work for the red to match in and with the blue also, that is where the Spider-Man pattern sort of comes in handy. Okay, so once you learn these patterns, it makes it very, very easy to then alter them and then sort of change them up for any other design. But we're going to start to work with accuracy, and these are all the pieces that you're going to need and start to sew together to make your base suit. So what we have here, guys, is the shirt. Now what we've done is just sew the pieces together. So the bottom portion here at the belt we've connected on. Now I've went just ahead and we have an arm attachment right here. You can see where they both line up together. What I'm doing is trying to go a bit more accurate. So I'm doing red to red and blue to blue with the thread. So we have a spool of red thread going through the machine and a bobbin of red thread in the bottom. So that can just go in doubly, red on both sides. We're going to do the same with the blue, so I'm going to change it up. But you can see here at the wee intersection parts, where that part's all sewn up, we have sewn in where the red and the blue connects together with just red and blue, thread. So we have a blue bobbin in under the machine and a spool of red thread going through the machine. Yeah, it's I want to be a bit more accurate. I want everything to blend nice, guys, with this costume. I haven't done that with any of the rest, but what you're going to see me do now is sew the lines up here in the arm with each color of the thread, and yeah, sew it down in here, and we'll have our shirt. And we'll try it on, guys, but you can just see here where they intersect with each other. And yeah, just try to be a bit more accurate. We'll have our shirt done within a second, and we'll go in with the pants. Let's see it now. So once you've attached your arms, guys, you can just see now I've did red to red and blue to blue. You'll want to stretch it out. The next stage, what you'll see me do is changing the thread for the machine. So I changed the thread from red to blue. I want to really make this suit accurate. So you can just see now for the pieces that were going to go blue to blue, I had to change up the fabric and make sure there was no red thread coming through. This is the accuracy that I went and the detail that I went into this suit. You don't have to, but yeah, this is the bobbin that goes underneath the machine. I took that out and made it and changed it to a blue one, but I've just taken my time. Again, you can see me sew all the blue areas, so the side panels in and around the arms, and making sure that everything goes together, taking my time and not rush jobbing this suit. So once you're happy with your work, guys, unfold it and just turn it inside out and take a good look at your nice seam lines. Okay, you can use any thread that you like, but again, stretch it out with your fingers. Make sure you just check the sort of bumps. Once everything matches up and you like what you're seeing, then you have a shirt base. Okay, you can go in and tweak it, take in some lines here and there, but like I say, I love how this fits and how this looks. You can see my lines really do match up well, like you're going to see in the next part, me wearing it and showing it off. So this is the shirt portion, guys. You can see it fits really nice. I'm just here on my day off of work. I'm finishing up this costume, but I needed to try it on because I have just sewn it on. So you can see here, it's nice and fits. We just have a wee space in here that we need to sew in, but it fits nice around the cuff, cuts off around the right area, what I want around the forearm. If we need to put on the gloves, when we make the gloves, we can actually sew the gloves on, make this one part, so we can just cut off here and bring this up as far as you want to your forearm. So that's completely up to you. The intersecting pieces here are really looking nice, so I can take it in here, just here in the armpit. You can see I have just one or two patches here to sew together, and that'll bring all of that in to the armpit. But this was my main part here, these portions, which is what I was worried about, and everything matches up. So now we have, now you could, for that really accuracy, what you could do is bring this in skinnier, so the red portion could be thinner. So on the template, that's what I might do for the next one. I would bring this in just around here, maybe thin it up in and around here, make it like the Amazing Spider-Man. But this is sort of what I want to do. First off, we have the belt cuts round. You can just see I have to take off a tiny piece here. If I stand back, we have the trousers that are going to go on like here. Okay, guys, so then we'll have our full Spider-Man costume. Well, our base costume, we need to add on the neck piece and add on the gloves. But yeah, I like how when it's stretched out, the figure that it's giving, everything matches up. So all of our lanes, everything straight edged. We'll show the back portion of it. We have to put in an invisible zipper. But yeah, this is the back part. You can see some of the parts just sort of match up, but I matched them in as best we could. So yeah, so far this is going good. Let's jump into sewing on the trousers, and we'll cut the next, the sort of neck piece next. The neck piece next. Already getting the tongue twister. But you can see the shine that the light's giving. You know, you can see the glare from the top right here. So yeah, guys, this is what we're going to be doing. We'll do the neck part. So we'll bring this in just tighter so it meets right here within the top of our shoulder like that. And then we'll add on our neck part. So yeah, this is the Spider-Man No Way Home process video, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around so far, and we'll get into the rest of it. But I just wanted to show you the progress. And don't worry, I'm wearing a t-shirt under this. This is why it looks so puffed up. It looks like I actually have muscles. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you in the next part right now. So guys, for this section you can see I've made a mark with a pen on how thick my shirt base is. So you'll just want to mark out how thick or how wide your shirt base comes to your trouser section, and then we're going to sew them together. So I've marked it off with a pen of how wide I have to go, and I'm just about to take them in here at the sections where we've marked. Okay, like we always say, bigger is better, and it's a bit easier to take it in rather than having to add to the whole costume. Okay, so I've already sewn in the edges. Both my shirt and my trousers match up with the same width, and then I just sew them together. So all I've done here is sew the front and to the trouser base. Okay, I haven't actually sewn up the full suit at the back yet because we still need to add the zipper. That will be in part 2. This is where the suit fully connects together here right in the middle, and this is where you get your straight line right across. Now you don't want your belt to come around your hip area. You want it to be raised up a bit around your waist, sort of towards your belly button area. You know, that's the belt sort of hitches up a bit high on the Spider-Man costume. And yeah, guys, just have a bit of fun with it. You can see we left it open here at the back. That's so it's easier, you know, so we can put in a zipper. So guys, for the boot part of what you want to do for our Spider-Man costume, you'll need a piece of card or a large piece of paper. Now, what I usually do is use a sock. So this is a long, you know, sort of leg sock right here, not none of the short ones or a little ankle sock. You just need a big tennis sock. You'll sort of want to lay it down flat on your piece of card or your piece of paper, like we're doing here. And what we do is just draw around, so you'll want to leave a good gap at the edge, maybe an inch or half an inch. It's just completely up to yourself. So this one didn't quite work out like you just seen. So what I've done is squared it off here. So I've cut it off there at the top. Then I've just lined that up there. I've taken it in here at the back of the ankle, slightly a bit more. And yeah, this is going to be our boot shape here. Now again, we're going to tighten in here around the back, but this has to be sort of big at the bottom because we're going to put shoes in on the inside of it, or we're going to put something, but we'll just straighten it up, you know. Now when you do go to sew it, you will be able to straighten this up, but what we're going to do now is just draw a new shape out. Looks a lot better, a lot straighter, guys. And yeah, this is about just, you know, tweaking and trial and error. I have some spare boxes here that I'm going to use right now, so you'll just see me draw this pattern out right now. And yeah, we'll get straight into it, and I'll show you how to do a boot template, and then we'll cut the boots out, and then we'll sew the boots on, and then the next is the gloves. Thank you, guys. So guys, this just should remind you, don't be afraid to make mistakes, okay? We always update our pieces. I make a lot of mistakes. You know, as you can see in the video here, I had to actually give my piece an extra bit at the top, and that's so an extra inch or two. That's because I didn't size everything up right. But again, don't be afraid to make mistakes, okay? And always just be updating and creating them. Here's the boot shape that we have here. And yeah, try not to waste some fabric. Have some fun with it, guys. So guys, I just had to go and get some really sharp scissors. These are big, you know, sort of, not industrial grade scissors, but these are, you know, sharp cutting scissors for cutting fabric and everything else. They go through multiple layers of folded up fabric, so they're very good for cutting through the lycra very easily and very sharply. Again, get yourself some sharp scissors. Be careful, please. Do not, you know, rush this process. And yeah, we're gonna get through it. So a sharp pair of scissors really does help. You can just see, guys, it cuts through the fabric in this lycra like butter. So we have our four sides of our boot covers, guys. We sew these together, and yeah, you just sew this to the base costume. You can see in the next step, you can do yours any shape, any size, any color, and this works for a lot of different costumes, everybody. When you're sewing your pieces together, guys, this probably has to be one of the easiest and, you know, the most simple ways to do it. You know, you can see straight on me just going around the edge. I do a sew like the sewer does seam line multiple times. This helps keep it in shape, but yeah, that initial first line, that's what'll set in stone your holes, you know, what your piece is going to look like. So you'll just want to take your time with the first initial sewing line, then after you get everything done, go over it once or twice, unfold it, and you will have your boot cover. Okay guys, so yeah, it's that easy. So guys, this part of the suit, you'll want to get the base suit that we've made. You'll want to turn it inside out, and you'll want to start to match up your boot with your leg. So you can see this leg portion here, and my leg, my little boot cover just fell off. Here and here, you can see you'll want them to meet up and, you know, fill in the same width. Now again, like we said before, the templates were just a bit bigger. It's always to go bigger and make sure that you have enough fabric. But what we're going to do now, I've just lined those in, and we'll go over those in blue thread. But we're going to sew this part to this, and what I've also done is fold this piece in half like so,
you'll want to have each seam line match up like that, and you'll just put a little cut here and here in each end, just right there and there, and that's going to mark off where our sewing line for our boot. So if you lay your boot flat, you can see this point here. You're going to take that and line that up with where you've made a little cut, and that's going to match up perfectly in the middle, you know, with where our boot needs to be, because that's where we use sewing lanes to, you know, do all this and maneuver around all the symmetry and stuff. Yeah, that's just going to fold in there, and we'll sew this in. We'll see right now, guys.
So I am moving at a fast pace and a really fast rate, guys, as you can see. But again, take your time. You know, this is one of the easiest processes to do, is just sewing the boots straight onto the suit. And yeah, it's just a straightforward line. You just want to take your time with it. Make sure you go over your seam lines once or twice. And yeah, you'll have your fully fledged suit. It really does start to take off once you add the boots and the gloves.
So guys, as you can see, we have just sewn on our boot pieces. Now what we have to do is still to sew on our gloves and our neck piece, and then our invisible zipper. But you can just see here the whole suit base with its boot covers, and we'll try this on at some point. I have left open the back here so that it's easy to maneuver and it's easy to open. You know, I haven't sewn this thing fully yet, because once we make this middle cut here down the middle for the back zipper, I'll show you, goes on right here. So we have again invisible zipper. Now you can choose black, red. I've chosen blue because the majority that it's covering is blue. So that's going to go up right up here into the neck, measures right down, and we're going to sew that in after we attach the gloves. But everything is starting to match up well, everything is starting to come together, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with how the boots attached. Again, guys, this can be used for a lot of different costumes, a lot of different things. You choose whatever you want to use it for. We have that, and also the mask that we will be making lenses for. This is the whole process, guys, that I'm going to show you, and then the next one we're going to do the waves. But let's continue with the gloves and get straight into it. So that was part one, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around this long. If you want to check out part two, that'll be showing me doing the very last stages of sewing this whole costume together. And again, this can be used for any other, you know, sort of design or pattern. Thank you for sticking around this long. You can click in the video down below and reach on to part two. But as we always say, let your geek speak. Please subscribe and comment. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below what you think of part one and if you are continuing this on. Like we always say again, guys, let your geek speak. Bye.